All right, we're going to get started tonight. First of all, welcome for those of you who are here on our Zoom chat and those of you who are watching us online. My name is Sarah Torbert, and I'm the State 4-H Volunteer Specialist, and I'll lead part of our meeting tonight.
Hi, everyone. My name is Warren Crawford. I am the State Youth Development Specialist, and I'll also be helping lead the discussion tonight for our club awards.
All right, I'm just going to start by sharing my screen here so you can see our PowerPoint. All right, so hopefully you're here to join us to talk a little bit about the new club awards that were just announced recently to your 4-H educators and then also to you. So tonight's agenda is that we're going to overview those two new awards, what they are, explain how you would apply for them, and then also give you ideas about how to generate programming for education and then programming for community service. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen this, but I want to know, does your club meeting look like this? And since we have a really small audience on our Zoom chat today, if they want to let us know, or you can just kind of listen along and see what you think. But most of our club meetings don't look like this. Very often we find that this blue section called business tends to overtake what's happening in our meeting, lasting anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes or more. Very few times we have the opportunity for fun or learning activities. And part of the reason that 4-H clubs are prosperous and work well is that it gives youth an opportunity to have fun and to learn something new that they might not be able to learn in school or individually by themselves. So our goal, we sat down and talked a little bit about why this is and how we help clubs focus really on this red section. So our goal by creating these two new awards was to really help clubs focus on learning. You'll see in there some of the things that we're really talking about are demonstrations and talks, which are educational, a show and tell, any kind of special programs, guest speakers, maybe watching or going to a video training or taking a tour. Those are just some examples. So that's part of the first award. And then the second award is all about community service activities, which is also part of this red section of learning. So the two new awards, on the left of your screen, you'll see the first one is called Heads of Clear Thinking. We'll be giving five awards of $200, so a total of $1,000 to 4-H clubs in Wyoming that focus on educational experiences. If you're a small club or a club that maybe doesn't have the membership to do really large projects or numerous projects, don't worry, because the awards won't just be based on the number of things you do, but we'll also base them on creativity, if you do something different than what other people are doing, if you go above and beyond. Just basically the awards will have a wide variety of ways that they're chosen. So you don't have to worry that you can't win because you're maybe a small club with 5 or 6 members. You still have just as much of a chance to win as a larger club who has the opportunity to do a lot more trainings. Go ahead.
So the second award is the Hands Larger Service. This award is to encourage clubs to think about and participate in community service activities that will benefit their community. That's one of the goals we really want to focus is, we've always had a community service emphasis within the 4-H program, but we really want to give clubs a chance to think about what needs the community has and try to figure out ways that they can reach those needs through community service. So just like the education-focused one, we will give away 5 $200 awards based off of clubs' participation in community service. And just like the educational one, it won't just be the most, the biggest, or anything like that. We want to make sure that clubs participate. So we will also be given out for creativity, things that maybe have unique idea that they've come up with to serve their community, and then also, we will take in consideration the number, but it won't be the primary consideration. So once again, those are kind of the basis for the 5 $200 clubs awards that we will give for their activities in community service.
So now you may be wondering, how do you apply? Our goal is to make this as simple as possible. We don't want to make it hard for you to apply. So we've created 3 opportunities for you to apply. Right now I'm going to share a different screen just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. So this is our 4-H webpage. If you haven't seen it, it's newer, but basically you're going to go here and go to current members. Once you click on that, there's going to be some resources. One is called Club Resources, so that makes sense. Click there. And if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's going to be this Club Awards section. So the first tab, this Hands to Larger Service, is an explanation of the award, kind of what we just talked about in the last slide. Same with the Head to Clear Thinking one. So you can, if you have more questions or want to know a little bit more about how these awards were established, or you forget the things that we say, you can go and look right there. There's a handout. Then there's 3 ways to apply. The first, if you click on it, is an online application. It goes directly to a form where you're basically going to type in your club name, pick your county, write your email address, write a brief description of the community service you did. The educational one looks exactly the same. Write what you were hoping to accomplish, like why did you do this service project, and then who did the service help? If it was helping your community, or if it might be helping an elderly home. I know we had one that just got put up on our Facebook page that helped some veterans. So whatever it is, just writing it. And then if you have a photo, we'd love for you to attach a photo so we can see what the kids are doing. So that's one way you can apply, is just by putting it up here on this form. So if we go back to the club resource, another way you can apply is paper. So this is one that you can just print out. It looks pretty much the same, and you can just, the exact same information, you can print it out, you can attach a photo, or you can email myself a photo. That's my email address there, and share that with us. Even simpler, if you are a Facebook user, we've created Facebook groups for the Hands to Larger Service and a Facebook group for Head to Clear Thinking. So if you click here, it's going to take you directly to that group. You will have to actually ask to join the group, because we just want to make sure that these pictures aren't shared with the world, that they're just shared with people within the 4-H community. We may use them later for promotional purposes, but if we do that, we would contact your club and let you know. So here it is, and basically it's the same thing. So if we come down here, I did a fake post the other day. So basically it says here, posting is easy. The Lucky Clovers 4-H Club from Teton County, they did a club hike. It was led by Karen's dad, and they learned how to waterproof matches. Super simple. So if we go back and look at the Hands to Larger Service, we actually have a post that was created by a 4-H club on here. So we'll check it out. So here you can see that the Hillsdale Tip Toppers 4-H Club from Laramie County did a project, and their project was to help troops, and they made over 300 cookies for airmen living in the dorms at the Warren Air Force Base for Valentine's Day. So they posted a picture of the newspaper clipping, all their cookies they made, and then the distribution of it. It doesn't have to be this elaborate. It could be one simple picture. It doesn't have to be this many words. I did another fake post down here, and so this one was called Hats for Health, and they knit hats for the hospital, and 10 hats were donated. So really, we're just looking for as simple as possible, just one way to record it. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint slides we can see. So if you have any questions, you can always go to the website, and all the stuff is just right there. So if you're worried about how you record it, don't worry. Any method works at any time. So if you do one Facebook post, you do 6 online applications, and you do 1 paper, that's completely fine. We're not caring how you do it. What we will do here is we'll compile them no matter what opportunity that you use. So just making sure that you have your club name and the county that you're from will help us to put that in the right category. The awards are based on October 1st, 2018 to the end of the 4-H year, September 30th. So that means if you've already done things, feel free to post them, things that you did back in October, November, educational or community service, depending which one you're applying for. And all qualifying events for this 4-H year have to be turned in by November 1st of 2019. So if you did an activity in September and you just didn't get time to post it right away, you have until November 1st to post those. So that's how simple it is. You can apply any of the ways that you want to, and then you can mail them or email them or get them to us any way that works easiest for you. So just some things I want you to be aware of. If your club has your club has to plan the community service or educational experience. So it can't be done, it can be done with another organization, but it can't be specifically done by another organization. So a great example of this is a thing that would work is if 2 clubs work together to plan a community coat drive. Both of those clubs then could apply for the award, put their pictures, put both their names on it. If you had 10 clubs in your county apply, do that, that probably wouldn't be a great example because it's more of a group effort of a large group of clubs. Another example would be if your local Rotary plans a carnival and US 4-H choose to be there to have an educational booth, or you want to collect food items during the carnival, because you're organizing that collection, then in turn you could record that. If the Rotary holds that carnival and you choose to donate, that wouldn't count because all you're choosing is to make a donation, not actually organizing something. So another thing is that if your county plans events, those can't be considered for the award. So if your county plans a coat drive and all your club does is donate, that wouldn't be considered part of the award. Or if your club has a booth at your local carnival or your countywide project learning days, the county planned that, and so you're just being a participant. I would say err on the side of caution. We can weed through things that maybe you're concerned about. So if you think that this is something that would work, feel free to apply for it because in all honesty, we just want to know what's going on in clubs out there. So don't feel like we're going to monitor everything. We don't have time to look through all of them and decide yes or no. We just want to know. We just want to get a great idea of what you're doing and encourage you to do more of those.
One thing that I wanted to add is we encourage county level support in community service or educational plans, but our goal with these is to really strengthen our 4-H clubs. So that's why we really want to focus on the clubs and the ideas that are generated out of the clubs through their membership, through adults, volunteers, parents. We want to make sure that they kind of have these conversations focused on these community service ideas, educational activities that come out of the clubs. So that's what we're trying to focus on. So we'll reward those clubs for doing the work, not necessarily something that's done at the whole county level.
If you have any questions, you can always ask those questions or you can use the chat box. And if you don't know where the chat box is, you can scroll to the bottom of the page. There'll be 3 dots that say more and you can chat through that also. All right, so now I want to take some time to give you some ideas of what might be included in that head to clear thinking or those educational experiences. So some of the things that you might already be doing or have done in the past that may be included is demonstrations, having your members give demonstrations. Take a picture of that night, or if you do it every month, take a picture, post it. If you invite a guest speaker in, same thing. If your club takes a tour to learn something, if you take a trip somewhere, maybe you're going to go to the local feed store to learn more about the different feeds because you're an animal project club. If you have a show and tell where members bring in things that they've created from their projects and talk to the group about them, kind of like a demonstration, but a little bit different. Maybe you're playing some team building games or games that promote learning in a group process. There's lots of those out there. So if you do that at the end of your meeting, and if you maybe attend a workshop or you host a workshop, either of those would work. So really, I think most of our clubs are doing a lot of this, hopefully at every single meeting. There should be opportunity to post stuff monthly, if not 2 or 3 times a month, depending on how active your club is. Just going a little bit more on that, think about using what you have. If you're looking for ways to do this, don't make this more complicated than it is. Do your club members have a talent or a hobby they can share? Maybe they're in dance and they could come and teach the entire group how to do a hip hop routine, or they could come and teach their favorite ballet position. Maybe they are really good at stamp collecting. They want to come tell you about their stamps and show you what they're doing. So really, we have a lot of talent in our 4-H clubs. So feel free to use that. Ask kids to share every month things that they're working on. Maybe your parents and your leaders in your club have a talent that they're really good at. My husband really enjoys painting or doing architecture. So he could come and talk to the group about that and show some of the things that he's done. We have a lot of people in 4-H, they join 4-H a lot of times because they have a talent or a hobby, so feel free to let them share that at your club meeting. Maybe they can even do a make and take with the kids, or they could do something active at the meeting and take it home with them. You can always focus on project work, so assigning a project group to give a demonstration or a talk or do some type of game during the meeting would be a great way to showcase what you have in your club. I've seen clubs focus on careers, so every month a different parent talks about the job they have and what skill sets they need to become that kind of job, and even how you can relate it to the 4-H program. Think about what other groups your families are involved in. Maybe one of you is involved in the Elks Club and there's something going on there that they want to share. Or maybe you're involved in a knitting group and you want the knitters to come and talk to your 4-H club. There's lots of community service organizations or community organizations that can come and do educational talks. And also lots of our families have special stories to share. Most of us have some type of heritage that we might be very attached to that we want to come and talk about or share our food from. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's happening already in your club that makes it really easy for this to happen versus having to go outside of your club and do a lot of searching in order to find people to give educational programs. You can also find a lot of resources in your community. There's lots of organizations that will come and talk. The police will come and do demonstrations. They might even bring their K-9 unit in if they have one. You can go visit your fire department or have them come. They can do a talk, show you the different parts of your fire truck. Kids love that kind of stuff. National Guard can come in and talk a little bit about maybe flag folding or different things about how they got involved in the military or some of the things that they do as part of the National Guard. A veterinarian's a popular one to come in and talk about animal safety or animal health. Your local health departments or even your extension office can come and talk about making healthy snacks or hand washing. Those are topics that they typically talk about. You may have some local business owners that can come in and talk about, especially if they're local. We have a guy here that makes ice cream. What a fun talk to have him come in. Maybe he'd bring free samples. So think about exciting businesses in your area that could come and talk. And then a lot of us have access to high school clubs or college clubs or sports clubs. So if you have an engineering club at your high school, maybe they come in and do an activity with building for the kids. So there's lots of resources out there, and a lot of these people are looking for ways to support community organizations. So most of them with a phone call will be more than welcome to come. I think it's important to remember to explain to them their audience so that they know that they're talking to 8 to probably 18-year-olds, mostly probably 10 to 12-year-olds. And so knowing that they need to make it kid-friendly would be important. But a lot of these community organizations are willing to help. So if you still need more ideas, you can always use a calendar to guide your learning. You could pre-plan your year and try to do something based on a celebration or something that's happening that month. For instance, in January, you could celebrate the new year. Maybe the club could make resolutions and as a club and plan how to follow them. Maybe in June, you celebrate Flag Day during your meeting and they can properly fold and care for a flag. You can use a month-day celebrations to guide your learning. So if you didn't know, April is National Volunteer Month. So you could definitely talk about volunteering and have members write thank you notes to the volunteers in your club. One of the things that might even be more interesting is having youth learn how to address an envelope. That sounds very basic to us as adults, but you'll find that a lot of kids send email and text. And so for them, addressing an envelope is a completely foreign concept. So a life skill they definitely need to learn. Today, April 4th, is National Vitamin C Day. Who knew? So having someone come in and talk about the importance of vitamins and health, you could celebrate if your club meeting was today. This would be a great topic to focus on in April. You could also use seasons. So in the fall, talk about apple picking, making pies or ciders, or you can invite someone who has an orchard in to talk to your club. Spring gardening is happening, so inviting your local master gardener in, or a gardening club to talk about what kind of vegetables to plant, or even when harvest time comes, how you harvest them, and maybe do a taste test of maybe vegetables they haven't tasted before. Summer, there's lots to do in summer. We don't have a lot of meetings in summer, so this may not be as applicable, but sun safety is always important, especially since our kids are spending tons of time outside doing stuff with 4-H. And in winter, we live in Wyoming, so that's a long season, so you'll have to be really creative with this, but outdoor survival skills, how to waterproof matches, things like that they may use actually in their everyday life. Also, some things you can keep in your back pocket. You can always use group games or team building. Those can be found on lots of 4-H websites, or in turn, you can ask your local extension agent. They're going to have tons of those they can share with you. One thing you may never thought about is judging classes or skill-a-thons. So this is a great way to have youth practice decision-making and learn about different projects. So I'm going to share another website with you. It's not a Wyoming website, but I think that there's some value to it. So let me go back to my original screen, and the Missouri 4-H website has some really cool stuff that you could check out. So if you go, I want to show you where it is just in case anybody gets confused, but you choose projects and opportunities here. It has a list of all their different projects. So one I know that works is cake decorating. And so they actually have developed, and if you go under opportunities, they've developed, just kidding, go under projects. They've developed resources for projects that you can just print off. So they have judging classes already created. So if your cake decorating group was doing your talk that month, they could actually print this off, or a skill-a-thon. And a judging class is just a decision-making opportunity. So basically they present, it's down here, they present the kids with with a situation in 4 choices. And so you could print these off and you could put them around the room and kids could talk to each other or tell you what's going on. This is a great way to help introduce the cake decorating project and help kids make decisions. So here they're trying to color buttercream icing. They give them 4 different types of colors, and then kids have to decide which one is best and why. And this may be a great way for your cake decorating kids to tell them why after they've had an opportunity to guess. And then The great news is they provide you with the answer and tell you why also. So that's the example of the judging class. There's lots of them on the Missouri 4-H website under their projects. You can go look for other projects. They also have skill-a-thon stations. And a skill-a-thon is just basically like different stations around the rooms where the kids can go and learn without having someone teach them. They kind of teach themselves. So this one is where they're going to actually decorate a cake of color. So the things you need are listed here. This one's a little intense. You need white cupcakes, icing, some spoons, and some food coloring. And so they give you a situation again. They tell the kids how to do it, and then the kids actually do it. So you would put this up and then have those supplies there, and the kids would read through, or with an older member if they have younger kids, and you could do a skill-a-thon. So these are great things to have in your back pocket, because even if you don't have a lot of time, most of these you can just print off and do. If you're running late, you have an hour, a lot of the judging classes and stuff you can just print off and do right away. All right, go back to the PowerPoint. Another thing you can look at is project information sheets. So I'm going to have to go back to the website again. These are actually on the Missouri or on the Wyoming 4-H website. So we'll go back to this as we showed you earlier. If we go back to the beginning, you'll see that if you scroll down, all of the projects that we have are listed on this page. So I'll just pick healthy living. And those projects include gardening, foods, health, and outdoor rec. So if we choose foods and nutrition, and this exists for every single project, you can go down and there are these project information sheets. And what they're gonna have, this is gonna be more about the learning an individual might do, but on the back, they're gonna give you some great ideas in this take further section. Bake with elderly at a care center or with children at a daycare. So this might be something you could even, you could go there and bake, or you could bake for them. Maybe you organize a food drive in your community. Your club could do that, and Warren might want to talk a little bit about that more. But there may be some things that you can do here with your clubs based on different projects you might want to focus on. So this one in leadership, they're planning and preparing a healthy snack for their club meeting, and so you could have them talk about that and have the whole group work on that. So there may be extra ideas that you can gain here for these project learning sheets. You can always ask your county extension educator. They're going to have a great resource of things you can use, probably having some things that they've done at club meetings or at different events that they've worked on that they could share with you last minute. And of course, you can always use the internet. Pinterest has some great ideas, as long as you understand that you may have to weed through some not so great ideas too. And then other extension websites, like I shared Missouri, they're going to have some ways that you can do project meeting educationals too. So those are other great resources.
So as we mentioned before, the Hands on Larger Service is all about providing opportunities for community service. We wanted to just list a couple ideas, give you some suggestions, maybe to start brainstorming the ideas that you may have about providing service to the community, because that's really what our goal is we want to make sure that if we're doing community service, that it's serving our community and something that's going to benefit not only the club, but also our towns, our communities, our places that we live in. So here's a couple ideas just to kind of start the brainstorming ideas or brainstorming sessions about things you can do to provide service to community and things that your club may be able to do for community service. Right here, the first one we talked about is maybe pack foods for homeless. It doesn't necessarily have to be homeless. One thing, the example they used was for veterans, but it could be for senior centers, it could be for schools, communities, anything like that. You know, that would just be a small food or a treat that would provide them that service. There's a lot of clubs that have the Adopt a Highway for cleanup, but that wouldn't just have to be highways down there locally. You can see some of the parks, neighborhoods. A lot of communities have green belts, walkways, things like that are something that's a good and easy way for clubs to get involved and to keep those looking nice and keep them clean. Tutoring systems for younger members be a good way to reach those things. Awareness campaigns, that could be really anything. It could be a health way. It could be some people that would just bring ideas or highlight maybe things that are important to the community, whether it might be a healthy living. It could be maybe ways to keep schools or communities safe, anything like that we're kind of looking at too. pen pals, video conferencing, just serving any of the things with our senior citizens, those things that go over quite well. That's a big need in our community as well. I wanted to talk next about how you generate ideas, what we do to come up with some ideas that would be beneficial both for the club and also something with the communities. Just like with the educational things, I think asking what our 4-H members are involved in, asking what their parents are involved in, if they're involved in some of the other organizations or the service organizations for adults, if they're involved with, maybe the city, the community, city government, any of the businesses, they might have some ideas of things that could really benefit their club or community. Also, just finding out who in the community the kids know, the members, the parents, volunteers. That's a great way to start. So that's a way to start within. Once you start looking outside of your clubs, local businesses, like as I mentioned before, a great place to start. Parks and Recreation would be one. Senior centers, as we mentioned quite a bit before. Community organizations. Seems like that they kind of have a lot of people that are integrated and knowledgeable about their community, and that would include the Rotary, your Moose, Elks, any of those type of service organizations. That they really want to partner with some of our young people to provide some of those community service opportunities. So those are a few great places to start to get ideas. One thing we want to make sure that when we're thinking about community services, they don't have to be huge. I mean, there are some wonderful opportunities. We've had some clubs do some of these national, international service opportunities. Like, for example, one of them is dresses for girls for Africa, things like that. And those are all terrific if you want to get involved with those. But really, we want to make sure that we do something within our club that our club gets excited about, that can benefit your community. And really, I keep saying community, but could it be a community at large? It could be your local town, your local county, your state, and maybe even we consider our nation that was a community. But we want to make sure that that's something that we focus on, and that we make sure that it's going to benefit your club and your community. A couple ideas on the last slide that we have is we want to make sure that whatever we do when we talk about community service is the keys. Number one, we want to make it meaningful. That means we want to make sure that our club, our members, our volunteers that are within that club, we want to make sure that it's something that they want to do, and make sure it's going to be impactful for them. And then also we want to make sure it's educational. And that's simply really, in this case, just why are we doing what we're doing? And that sometimes is just a simple concept, but especially within community service, think about who we're benefiting, why we're doing it. Those kind of things just kind of make it much more meaningful and educational. And then very last, we want to make sure that it's fun. I mean, we don't want to make this as a chore. We want to make sure that it's part of our mission with the 4-H program is to serve our community. And if we can have as much fun as we can do, as possibly do, while we're making it meaningful, making it educational, make it fun, we're going to be all that much further along, more beneficial. So that's just kind of a quick way to kind of start maybe the ideas flowing, some things we can do within our clubs to focus on, think about community service in a way that's going to be meaningful for not only our club, our members, but also for our community.
All right, I think that's all we have for tonight. Does anyone have any questions that maybe we can answer for them, or things that they want to know? If you're watching this recording, Warren and I are always available on email or via phone if you have some questions, you want to talk to us more about something that was discussed tonight or help to generate ideas. And your 4-H educator is going to be a great resource with a lot of this stuff. This is very much a core of our 4-H program, community service and education. And so most of your extension 4-H educators, no matter how new they are or how long they've been there, have this at the forefront of their brain. So feel free to talk with them too to get new ideas, because they really have a lot of ideas that they could share with you, or things that have been done by other clubs. Also, be sure to like that Facebook page, those group pages. The links to those are on our website, and that way you can also get some more ideas there too. Who knows what kind of things other clubs are doing that may work in your community too that you never thought about doing. So there's another great way to get some resources. All right, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to stop recording.